Hello, Eight of Cups family. Welcome to Eight of Cups Tarot and welcome to your astrology portion of the October readings. Guys, October is really intense. It's really all about this Plutonian energy. Very fitting for October, very Halloween-like. But it starts out in the beginning of the month with an extremely intense new moon. Now, typically we look at new moons as an avenue of growth, initiation, inviting new things into our lives. This moon is very different. We also have 4 planets stationing direct this month, and a lot of our personal planets are shifting to different signs. And on top of it all, we have a super intense Mercury retrograde in Libra. So let's put it all together really quick. Here's how it's going to go. The beginning of the month, right out of the door, we're going to be triggered. The universe is really pushing us to expose some of these deep wounds that are buried. Now we're playing along with making an opposition to Chiron with this moon. It is conjunct Mars. It's making a square to Pluto. Mercury is making a square to Pluto as it's in retrograde most of the month. And it's also creating a beautiful trine to Jupiter. So it's very hard to navigate between this really beautiful, hopeful Jupiterian energy and a square to Pluto. This is really where we bring up the depths of our wounds and our subconscious, and we offer them up for healing. So this new moon is about releasing these old feelings, releasing these old triggers. Because Mercury is retrograde and Mercury rules the mind and how we think, it's giving us a chance to reframe this. This is an invitation for a lot of us to step out of the victim mode. Now, I don't say that like, you have things happen to you in your life. That's what we're here for, is this human experience. But because the bad things happen, because we've had disappointments, and we start to look at life and we start to look at what fear does to us, how it makes us sell ourselves short, it stops us from participating in certain things. It stops us from deepening our connections. And some of these old wounds are going to get triggered. And we're going to have a choice, because Libra, a lot of this energy is about choice, and we've got the North Node in Gemini, and it's getting ready to finish up here and move into Scorpio-Taurus axis. We've got a lot of things we've got to close out rather quickly in the end of this year. Jupiter is going direct. He's going to finish up his tour in Aquarius, and by December he moves back into Pisces. And so we're really left with Saturn, which is also going direct in Aquarius, which really does talk about the healing of the collective. There's an opportunity here. We can resonate with those old wounds. We could play this out in a lot of different ways. We can make choices to stay in a place of fear and to play it safe, or we can tap into that Jupiterian energy and allow ourselves to grow. When we start to see these situations from a different light, growth is always inevitable, right? So we have these really beautiful energies, and because we've got all the energy going on in Libra right now, there is a lot about partnerships at stake here. Now, it doesn't have to be romantic. It's just simply the partnerships, the friendships that we hold in our lives, and how we view them, how we approach them, what we're willing to give to them. Some of these relationships this month are going to be make or break, because we're going to have this mentality. For some of us, there's some things that are playing out that seem very familiar, and because we've been there, done that, we're not going to want to do it again. And so there's this fierce independence that comes through, especially by the end of the month as we have the full moon in Aries. This is an energy of wanting to go it alone, it doesn't matter what other people think or say. And that's all part of this, finding our sovereignty this month, figuring out who we are and what we want and committing to it. And we're going to see other people triggering us. We're going to see a lot of projections in other people. And Mercury retrograde in Libra can have a very sharp tongue at times. And I have to laugh because my girlfriend just got me this as a birthday present, this cup. I don't know if you guys could see it. Sorry for what I said while Mercury was in retrograde. I think a lot of this month has to do with our ability to find grace, which means not only are we learning how to accept ourselves, we're also learning how to accept other people and their choices in their lives. Now, you look around at the collective, and one of the easiest way for me to frame this example for you is some people are triggered because people don't want to wear masks, right? I have no opinion on this. You do you. But it triggers some people. And we don't know why. We don't know where that comes from, that internal triggering. And then other people are triggered at your lack of fear, the lack of respect for what's going on. And it's really all about this judgment period. We're judging everybody. When you find grace, not only do you have the ability to do what your heart and your soul tells you to do, but you also have compassion to understand the choices of other people. Now, I said it's a karmic month. When we have planets moving direct, that means that there's forward motion, but usually what happens, first we will have Pluto stationed direct, then we will have Saturn, then Jupiter, and towards the end of the month, Mercury will move direct in Libra. This is big energy because there's a lot about karma that comes into play. What have you learned? What's the risk and reward? Jupiter wants to give, right? He's moving into Pisces, so there's a preparation. We've got to get ready for this great renewed faith. We had a taste of Jupiter in Pisces earlier in the summer, late May and June, before he retrograded back into Aquarius. Those storylines were introduced. Where do we want to take it from here? Saturn, being another very karmic planet, stationing direct, is going to be all about our inner integrity. If we're not in the right relationships, if we're not in the right job scenarios, if they are not a reflection of our true integrity and what our soul wants and needs from us, and part of our destiny is at play here, then these things are ultimately going to crumble. Now, I'm not saying that everybody's going to leave or quit their jobs in October, but we're looking at the collective, we're looking at these vaccine mandates, and we're looking at a drove of society that is changing their career paths. So of course there's a lot of change in the sky, and with that amount of intense change comes the idea of vulnerability. And you're going to find yourself vacillating between vulnerability and tremendous bravery and courage this month, and those two go hand in hand so wonderfully. To look at the positive side of partnerships, we can find such a beautiful connection this month to people that are integral in our lives and do share that integrity. There's so much growth here if you are in a very supportive relationship. If you have very supportive friends, these will be a source of strength. Because it's so much nicer to go through these changes when you have other people that believe in you. So don't underestimate the support that you can get from other people, and don't underestimate what your support to them means as well. Vulnerability is a big issue for all of us because we've all been in that place in our lives where we've had to be vulnerable, where we've been hurt. Chiron is going to remind us of those wounds, but Chiron is here to teach us how to overcome it. And that full moon conjunct Chiron at the end of the month is where it all starts to make sense. What isn't working, what is working, the relationships that we want, what we want our futures to look like, what we want to do with our careers, how we want to invest our time, what our priorities are. Remember, we've been under this tremendous internal shift for several months. As these planets move direct, and especially into November and December, the action is just going to take place. These changes are going to unfold with very little effort anyways. So it's better to take October to do the internal healing, to face these old wounds and to reframe them. And it's important to understand that grace means that whatever your imperfections are, whatever your mistakes were in the past, they were here as a teaching moment, and we're meant to evolve from them. Nothing ever happens to us in this lifetime that will ever, it's never meant to keep us small. It's never meant to convince us that we aren't capable or we're not deserving of the things that we truly love. Guys, desire is born within us because it's meant to lead us towards our destiny. When you desire something, a certain type of relationship, a certain type of career or job, when you desire to have a child or to buy a new home, these are all callings on your path. And so the universe doesn't want you to play it small anymore. It wants you to listen to that. It wants you to start taking those risks. So October is such an important month to go within, to take that retrospective moment and to understand what it is inside of us that causes any kind of hesitation or delays or where we don't believe in ourselves. Desire is important. Mars is a major player in both of these moons. Where it is part of our soul's integrity, we have the ability to overcome and grow. Jupiter and Mars together is the greatest form of ambition, and the universe is so supportive of it. So pay attention to your inner callings. Pay attention to that inner healing. When you get triggered this month, and you will, you have to know where it's coming from. You have to know the universe just wants more from you, and that these old stories really have to be put to bed so we can move on in this new growth. Guys, I hope you enjoy your readings. October is a tremendously healing month, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care. Hello, Leo. Welcome to your tarot cards for October. If you can tell, I'm actually super excited about this reading. My emotions are kind of all over the place. I'm so excited for you guys because I think that Leo has been making so much progress for a fixed sign who's certainly had its share of issues in the past few years, even dating back to 2017 with those large eclipses in your sign, all the way until now. It's just been this constant growth period for you. And I just want to say, this Princess of Cups, that if you take a second, if you really take a second to sit down in the quiet, Four of Swords, right? And just sort of reflect on your growth in the past several years. Really reflect on who you were 4 years ago as to today, the choices that you make, what you feel that you deserve, the kind of life you envision for yourself. Just imagine how different it is from then that it is today. And that's what this Death card is telling you. The Death card and the Ten of Wands does tell me that you're sort of at the end of this cycle. You're really in the very ending phase of some harsh lessons. Now, we still, of course, have Saturn going through your 7th house. And let's not forget, it's Aquarius that had the last Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. So you guys are setting a precedence for everyone else in the way that you experience that energy. And you will remain with Saturn for another year or so in your 7th house, meaning there'll still be work,
But as we move into the second half of Saturn through Aquarius and Jupiter steps on into your 8th house of resources and other people and intimacy, which is a really beautiful placement if you are in the correct mindset of growth. And if you're a low vibrational Leo, if you haven't done the spiritual work it's required of you, then Jupiter in your 8th house isn't going to be so nice. And here we have Feast of Plenty, choices and their consequences. Jupiter is the Justice card. It's the card of consequences. But I don't think a lot of you here are in that low vibrational Leo state. In fact, if you were, most of these readings probably wouldn't even resonate. But nonetheless, there are choices in front of you now because Jupiter is finishing up that 7th grade. Why do I want to... I don't know if some of you are dealing with something that goes back to 7th grade. It just keeps coming out of my mouth. The 7th house, Saturn being there, with Jupiter being in the 7th house for only a couple more months, when Jupiter finishes with a sign, with a house that it's falling in, it tends to gift you for the return of your hard work. And that's what I see here. I see this Death card being this powerful transformation that you've been on, and the 10 of Wands telling me it's been a long journey. And you probably don't realize how far you have come in this transformation. Now, of course, we see the 2 of Cups. We see the 10 of Cups. And I'm entitled to think this probably has to do with a relationship or partnership, probably something that's very emotionally filling, a new wish or a new dream that you allowed yourself to have as this new and transformed person. See, what happens when we have this kind of growth is as we raise our vibration, as we learn all of the new things, we attract higher quality people, and our taste changes and the kind of relationships that we want changes. And it's so important to understand that what you feel you are worthy of is what you attract. And so because you've done all of this healing and the knowledge that you no longer want to participate in the things, the relationships, the friendships, the jobs, whatever it is, you don't want to participate in those things that are no longer matching your frequency. See, Leo knows that life isn't about the struggle. It's not about the hard work. It's not forcing relationships to work. It's not forcing jobs or people to understand your value. And it's such a beautiful lesson because it gives you back all the power. See, we have the Devil card, Capricorn, Pluto going direct in the beginning of the month. This is the root of this entire reading. See, Pluto is doing you a tremendous favor right now. It's not going to feel like it, but it's showing you the few places you have left in which you are giving away your power. And that's anything that affects your vibration and your frequency. Toxic relationships, things that don't make you feel safe, things that don't make you feel appreciated, like Leo's definitely not dating that narcissist ex anymore. You're not still in that job with the narcissist boss. Like, we've outgrown all of those scenarios. And so, yes, I want to say that this has to do with a relationship, but on the core, in the center of it, which is something I believe I've been preaching to you for months now, is that the outside world can never give you what you do not reflect on the inside. It's not going to hand you things if you don't believe in them. The universe wants you to want this, and therefore you can appreciate it. 10 of Cups. Those burdensome issues, those bad toxic relationships, the horrible bosses, the friends that stabbed you in the back or talked to you behind your back, you know, those things served such a purpose because it got you here. And the Two of Cups is always a reflection of your inner alignment, the masculine and the feminine, which means that you are ready to receive. Queen of Wands. Now we're looking at this Princess of Cups, and this is your energy this month, which is that of healing. And we're all in like this crazy mode of healing, right? We've got so much going on, making aspects to Chiron. We're in Libra season, which is all about relationships, and there's definitely wounds to be healed. And the Princess of Cups is somebody that knows how to take care of themselves, how to balance life out. That's what Libra season is. We're finding our inner balance. And that means that we're going to have to make better choices for ourselves. And if this is the end of a cycle, some of these choices might feel pretty big. Feast of Plenty, choices and their consequences. Because we have the Queen of Wands here next to this Princess of Cups, there's a lot of feminine energy. And I don't mean that against anybody. If you're a male watching, this still applies to your energy. Because it's very nurturing and it's very compassionate and it's very forgiving. And I think that this is a testament to how forgiving, how compassionate you have remained through this process. There's an element of surrender here, and there's an element of surrender with the Four of Swords, and it's more like acceptance. Because next to this is kind of the vibe that I'm getting from this Queen of Wands, and I think this could definitely be like an energy that you carry or somebody else in your life. But to me, because we have this card of transformation, then we have this Queen of Wands, and then we have the Devil underneath. This talks to me more about the desire. And the Queen of Wands can pretty much have whatever she wants, right? Because we have choices here. You might be attracting a lot of people to you, which happens often when we get into this high vibrational state. Like, everybody wants your energy. You become magnetic. The Queen of Wands is always in the receiving mode, so it's important to understand that the things that you want to receive, you are able to accept, right? Because this is rooted down by this Devil card, this card of Pluto. And because you've got Pluto in your 6th house, there's absolutely a leveling up and mastery. This feels like, I kind of want to call this the graduation. You're graduating from a state of spiritual growth and you're entering a new level. And you're being offered some choices here. Now, there could be relationship options in front of you. There could be job options in front of you. But my guess is the way that this Queen of Wands is sort of looking at this 10 of Cups, there's probably one option at least, that really stands out to you. This is something that you want. And it's emotionally fulfilling, which means it doesn't hold any of those old toxic qualities we've experienced in our past. There's no manipulation. There's no, and it's important to understand, like, you have to come from a place of integrity. When you've got Saturn in your 7th house, you've got Jupiter getting ready to move into your 8th, right? This has to come from a place of integrity to yourself, which means you can't do things because it's better financially for you. You can't make those decisions based on that. Look, if you choose to stay in a relationship because it's financially safe, or if you choose to keep that job you hate because it's a constant paycheck, then there will be consequences. When Saturn's there, the consequences tend to be felt enormously. You know, these aren't small lessons. This is correcting our karma so we no longer make these mistakes, no longer enter into these kind of commitments. And I don't see you taking this energy lightly. If you have options, you're probably really seriously questioning yourself right now. Like, how is this right for me? What does this provide for me? So sometimes when we come from a place of ego, we really put a lot of effort, 10 of Wands, into getting somebody to love us. Even like jobs, friends, whatever it is. Like we just give and give and give, and we try to be our best selves, but it comes from a place of you want them to love you. But is your happiness based on how this person values you? We don't want to make that mistake again. Sometimes we jump into things with the ego and we don't take the time, 4 of Swords, to really disseminate what this brings to us. Great, they'll love you, but what if they're an absolute disaster financially? Or what if they're abusive or manipulative or whatever it is? You know, what if they can't offer you that financial stability? What, you know, there's like a million what ifs. We have to start looking at what is best for us, Princess of Cups, every time. What is healthier for us? 2017, we learned a lot of hard lessons. There's no way at this point that we want to get ourselves back into those situations. Now, for some of you, this 10 of Cups is a very real thing. There's a very real potential connection in your life. And it may be one that feels different than all those other ones, right? Because we have these choices and their consequences. And then we have the spark card, which is a suggestion that there's a spark. This is a time, especially environment being the Fool card, this is a time to initiate and to jump all in. Because you know this is different. Because you know that this one speaks to you at a heart and soul level. And I get the feeling that you've probably been in this consideration mode of what do I really want, because this choice feels big. I know I keep coming back to this choices and their consequences. This breaking down to a 2. Here we have this 2 of Cups. Do you want to do this or not? Because the Devil card always represents fears. And you can't go into something wholeheartedly, but with a whole lot of fear. These are the things that have to get worked out this month. 4 of Cups. Very interesting bottom of the deck here. See, I just feel like there's like this old version of yourself and like this old life that you lived. And then you had like this idea of how it's got to go next. And for some of you, this isn't in your life, but you want it to be. And you know the places you are now aren't offering you this. The choices that are in front of you now are not 10 of Cups choices. And if there is one that is a 10 of Cups choice, you know it. So are you hesitating on the right one because you fear the change? You fear this last step of the transformation? Because we've got 10 of Wands, 10 of Cups, and a Page of Pentacles in reverse. This is that fixed energy. There's a stubbornness, which is part of this karmic pattern that you are dangerously close to repeating, the World in reverse. Take time to breathe out. 4 of Swords. Guys, there's no rush here. You're going to feel pressure because 10 of Wands, right? Like, I just want to get to the finish line. I just want to wrap this up. And there's probably a lot of questions looming, like, is this going to be like long-term stable? You know, if there's expectations for a 10 of Cups, that puts a lot of pressure. And it's important that this 10 of Cups come from a really organic place, meaning you already feel this way. This isn't something that's going to develop over time. This, with a 2 of Cups, this is soulmate energy. This is undeniable. And if you don't have choices in front of you that aren't undeniable, they simply aren't it. And if you choose anything less than, you are severely selling yourself short. Again, repeating a pattern, making a mistake. Now we have this leg up card, card number 34, and then we have the spark card, card number 34. Both representing a connection. Now the leg up is a sign that there is support. It doesn't necessarily even have to be from this existing 10 of Cups person. This could even be a friend. Maybe this is a really good friend that says, hey, have you maybe looked at it from this perspective? Maybe somebody that helps reflect your true feelings a little bit better. But it's a sign that there's assistance. There's a sign that there's healthy connections with people that have your best interest in mind. And it's definitely a guarantee that you are being supported by the universe. At the very, very least. And that's saying a lot, right? And then over here we have the spark card. Another card number 7, guys. Card number 7s always represent to me a period of adjustment. And usually, because Mercury is retrograde in Libra, there's adjustments to how you see relationships. And this is a huge lesson for you. Spark card, card number 34. I actually want to read this one to you. There is a spark of creativity in you, and you have every reason to move forward with optimism and hope. Open yourself to inspiration and allow life to show you its beauty and your part in co-creating it. This is a perfect time to give birth to an idea, start a new relationship or job, or begin any endeavor. Remember, full card is all about new beginnings. Attraction is high as you connect with others who can co-create joyous experiences and join with you in expressing the finer aspects of life. Watching a spark turn into a flame and stoking that fire is a gratifying activity. And that's what I think is represented with this 10 of Cups, is that stoking the fire, watching it grow, because there's growth, because you've had growth and you're co-creating with somebody who's had growth. You become two really powerful people. And this Feast of Plenty, you are faced with a plethora of options right now. And while that may seem to be an extraordinary thing, too many choices can throw you off balance. You might be worried that once you commit, you won't be able to turn back or refuse to confront the consequences of that decision. The most important thing to realize is that the feast is offering you experience. No amount of overanalyzing or strategizing will help you make the right choice now. Don't debate the right or wrongness. Instead, just choose. In the choosing is a seed of experience, and that is what is necessary now. Sour, bitter, savory, or sweet, what matters is relishing the experience until you digest all that your choice is offering you right now. Only one warning: avoid the same choice if it keeps you hungry. If something didn't feel good or does not bring you what it seemingly promised, do not choose it again. The experience will only repeat itself, and you will have more than a bad taste in your mouth. I just wanted to read that because it's so important here. It comes out next to the World card in reverse, which is a suggestion that there are two very clear options here. Again, choices and consequences. Now, you are coming out as a Princess of Cups, and the final card in the block is the Knight of Cups. This is a match here. This is an emotional match. Here is one cup. Here is two cups representing the Two of Cups, meaning your inner alignment has literally manifested into a person, into a connection. And the choice here is to repeat the old mistakes or to grow in the new cycle. Now, for most of you, I really feel like this is a person. And I think you know who it is. And there might be this option to stay single or play the field or, just being afraid to make any form of a commitment. But I don't think it really even requires a lot of thought on your part anyways. I think it just works. It just fits. You both mirror each other, and whatever happens, happens. But you are meant to follow this desire because it makes you feel like this 10 of Cups is possible. But it is also a reminder to anyone out there that if this person isn't in your life yet, this Knight of Cups, if you're looking at your options and none of them feel special, none of them feel like they have all of this potential, then you would be selling yourself short to make this commitment, because this is coming. And you should continue to manifest this, their last final push. Most likely, this is going to come before the end of the year, if it's not here already. So it is worth the wait. And the whole point to all of this is that we have to remain determined to not repeat old cycles, not commit ourselves to jobs or partners or friends that make us feel bad. And I think that's what this Four of Cups is about. It's about eye on the prize, not getting distracted by the glittery things, not being and following your heart, focusing on what you want with this 10 of Cups, the kind of relationship you want, kind of job that you want. This is about just believing in your dream, not accepting anything that's less than. And here we have the 7 of Wands in reverse and the Hierophant in reverse. If you're not willing to put your work into it, then the commitment won't happen. Look at, here's your choices, the Fool and the Hierophant. Oh my God, guys, I just love it when Spirit is this clear. It's become very repetitive in the reading. The message remains the same. Make a choice. But make it for the right reasons. All right, Leo. Very, very cool reading. I love you guys so much. I will be back for your November readings, and probably one time I might be doing that Aries full moon. We'll see how I am time-wise. But until then, guys, have a wonderful October, and I look forward to hearing from you.